Okay. Right, we are on live. So if you do not want to show your beautiful faces, then you can put yourself on a blank. You're most welcome to show your beautiful faces on this early morning, beautiful morning. Right, Varapunya, let's start.
Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome back to our online meditation in May. So I don't know what I'm to say, so let's move on the session because we are in the process of practicing anyway. So for the Satipatthana, let Pa Ajahn take care of us and lead us to the next session, next process. Thank you.
Right, so welcome back to our this session. Before we going into the practice and discussions and even the learning new techniques or on the meditation, anybody wants to share or anything you want to talk about? Maybe sharing anything. Doesn't need to be related to meditation. I just want to be a little bit of more relaxed today. And then try to go back into a very basics, which we normally have a problem with in the practice of a meditation. So, must be something, or it's too early. Too early, mind is still blank. So the reason this is because I felt like we have been, particularly from last year, we have been focusing heavily on scriptures, and then focusing on the higher kind of teachings based on that. Sometimes we feel like we are gaining some knowledge, but we haven't been anywhere. And I felt like, oh, this is not my cup of tea, and it's so complicated and so difficult. I am expecting meditation, something is very simple and relaxed and able to feel myself calm and collected, kind of like that. So that's why I thought that I will go back to the basics as we used to have in the first stage of our practices in a few years ago. So that's why I thought of this today, that we'll just go and relax and easygoing. And if you check it on our website, Varapunya has collected all our sessions from the very first day till now. You see about over 30 clips there, 30 sessions are there, and within that 30 sessions, about 20, early 20 sessions were very relaxed and very unstructured. Whereas from last year, it was kind of a very focused on a particular discourse and needing to understand furthermore like that. So that's why it's kind of your chance to share or anything. Or anything, what you've been teaching, we understand, but we do not know what whatsoever. And we want to have a peace, but we can't have peace. Mind is so distracted, always going around here and there, always going towards the negative, the anger, the resentments. But I don't want that, and I want to have peace, happiness. How can I go and how can I practice? Like that. Or practice of meditation is really helping me to sit down, coming to able to deal with the situation in my family life, like that. Or too much trying to go away from the daily routines of yourself. I can't handle anymore. It's too much for me, I don't want to make a cup of tea, and I don't want to make a cup of tea for you. I don't want to go for groceries for you. You go yourself. I need my space, like that. Uh, uh, so, so that's why I thought that today I will keep it very simple. So, before we practice, that's why I thought that I will allow everyone to share any thoughts um, on any experiences. Like for myself, last month I was so busy, and almost every single day there was something, and I was traveling a lot as well. So that's why I sometimes wonder how Sanya managed traveling around the world. For me, I was just traveling here and there and driving here and there and talking to people and teaching and meditating. And yet, this 2 weeks ago, I was so exhausted. I didn't have energy to do anything. And then there was one regular members of the community. She said to me, "Achan, you told us to stop, but you never stopped. That's why uh, you tired. You have a fatigue." Uh, so like that. And also this month, also from next week, it's going to be very busy as well for 2 weeks. We are having a Interfaith Mindful Day and an Anapana Sati Day Retreat and a Children Vesak Day. You know Vesak Day? Who knows Vesak Day? Vesak Day is the day when the Buddha was born. He enlightened after 35 years, and then he lived for 45 years. So his birth, Buddha's birth, his enlightenment, and his passing away day uh, somehow celebrated on a single day. That's called a Vesak Day. Yeah, so it's one of the very special days in a Buddhist calendar that normally it's celebrated around the world, and it's since 2000 since 1999, and this day also recognized by the UN, the United Nations, as the Day of Peace. Uh, and celebrated in UN headquarter and other branch offices around the world as well. So that's the Vesak Day. So this is one of the very important days. And every year in Thailand or in other Buddhist countries, they celebrate it as UN Vesak Day uh, with the different Buddhist communities and organizing with the UN involvement this day. So this year also going to be in Thailand. So this is a Vesak Day. So we are also having this Vesak Day celebration here on the 22nd. So that's the full moon of a Vesak. So we will have a few members coming tonight. Actually, today, this afternoon, children are coming to make a lantern. So all day, children will be making lanterns to honor the Buddha, and they will hang it around until the Vesak Day ends. So on 22nd, people will be coming for the special service, and then following that, on a Saturday, we have a children's meditation session. So children will come and meditate from 9:30 until 2 o'clock. And then the following day we have another adults meditation retreat. So that's why this also very busy, and obviously June will be very busy and very tight program for myself. talking about the children's program, meditation programs, when I started giving this meditations and sessions for the children, initial stage, 5 minutes was very hard for them to stay still and meditate. They will be moving around and doing this and doing that, and then later I changed my plan from afternoon session to the morning session. And then in the morning, I told them that they have to observe 8 precepts. So 8 precepts means basically one of the hardest one is to not to eat in the afternoon. So you're not allowed to eat sorry, not allowed to eat in the morning, okay, until afternoon. So 11 o'clock you're allowed to eat. Now, obviously, children wants to have a breakfast early morning. So before the meditation session, I challenged all the children, those who are coming, challenge saying that if you do not eat, see what happens. And that's how they learn. They didn't eat. They didn't eat anything until 11 o'clock. And with that, they managed to recognize their feelings of a hungry, feelings, emotions, the changes, the anger comes because of the hunger, empty stomach, and they also express the desire to shout and easily got upset, those things. And with that, and when they come to practice meditation, I focused on those feelings. And with that, they got it without explaining too much. They understood it. And with that, from 5 minutes meditation was so difficult, and last meditation was so successful. They were able to sit about 20 minutes, and I sit quietly meditating. Only one or two children moved a little bit. So like that. So it's a way of practicing, and also the more we practice, we get better. And as a result, so I encourage children to have one session like every 2 or 3 months time. And then they are enjoying so far now. So next 2 weeks time on 25th of Saturday, the 25th of May. So we will have another session as well. So these are the activities that's going on in my schedule. So yes, like that. What you have? So in that case, if you feel like this is early morning, in that case, let's practice a little bit, and then later on I can guide you through some of the important factors that prevents from developing the meditations. Okay, right. In that case, so sit in comfortable position. Okay, relax yourself. You may move your hands and legs and your body, wriggle a little bit, so just to wake you up as well as relax. And leaving all your responsibility aside, and then just to bring your attention to be aware of yourself as you're sitting here and now. Nothing to do, nowhere to go. Just feel the body, feel the mind. Just be here and now. You may spend some time on the breath. Gently close your eyes and feel the breath. And here, when you're feeling the breath, do not think of the breath. Feel the breath. Doesn't matter where do you feel the breath. So feel the breath. Breath coming in and going out. And now, because of early morning, you may feel clumsy, sleepy, lethargic, or not energized. And then you may use the method of taking a long, deep breaths. So, a few long, deep breaths. And releasing it mindfully. So, we are doing it intentionally. Yeah. So intentionally, we are taking a long, deep breath to wake us up and also energizing ourselves to feel the breath. And while we are doing this long breath exercise, try to notice the short breaths. A breath becomes shorter and shorter. When breath becomes shorter and shorter, feel the connection with our body. Where do you feel the most of this incoming breath and outgoing breath? Doesn't matter where you feel it. Matter is you recognize it. And spend some times recognizing at the area where you feel the breath in your body, whether in your nose or chest or the belly. And settling down, grounding yourself. And as you're settled on that particular place, understanding the formation of this breath or the formation of this body. Sometimes you feel the breath, sometimes you feel the body at that place or some other parts of the body as the breath coming in and going out. Try to recognize, because of the body movements in your body causing the incoming breath and outgoing breath, and other times because the breath coming in and going out causing the movements in your body. It's understanding the effect of one of it to the another. But if you feel that your mind is still restless, lethargic, sleepy, then you may come back to the beginning, taking a long breath and working with the breaths, intentionally taking the breaths in and out, or just a rise and fall. And obviously, if our mind is not settled or our meditation hasn't developed, it's very easy that the mind will drift away to the thoughts, drift away to the works, drift away towards things that went wrong, building up attentions, unhappiness, and so on. Whereas if we have developed meditation, then it's easy that we can take control of our own mind and keep it wherever we would like it to be for a certain period of a time. And or even if we have developed a bit more, doesn't need to be in any certain objects, but whatever comes, mind is alert, awake, and ability to be mindful of that without causing any troubles. So then our mind attains in a positive sense of a well-being, so positive sense of a mental states, ability to be in a calm state, tranquil, seeing things in a positive way, no doubt, no restless, full of love and kindness towards oneself and to the others. Mind is settled and free, like you have been holding heavy items in your shoulders and finally put it down on the ground. So remember to be mindful as it comes and as it goes. Do not generate the intention to be with any particular object. Learn to notice. keeping mindfulness. Be aware and be alert. Do not lost into the thoughts. Do not float away along with the thoughts. Recognizing, realizing and releasing and relaxed. Breathing in, breathing out. Now bring your attention to your body. Feel the sensations in your body. And to your eyes. And creating your intention to open your eyes and come out from the practice. Okay, so this is the session now. Anybody wants to say now or still? Right. Yes, Jonas.
I have a question. I've been practicing quite regular, sometimes every other day, sometimes a couple of days in between, but like I've made it a little bit habit to have some practice or breathing exercises or just sitting still and meditating. And I, of course, it's always different quality of meditation. So I kind of accept that I cannot stop my thoughts. They will be there anyway. Like I heard once this picture of just let them be like chat, like the birds, that they're there anyway. I cannot be annoyed on the birds. So, and but I wonder if it makes sense to have a fixed image or like really something that you always do, like yeah, an image, a flame, or a visualization or something. If you would recommend that to always have the same ritual somehow, or if it's just I can also do my walking meditation, and then it's just where is the difference between okay, now I'm meditating or now I'm just living my life being conscious somehow. Do you understand my question? Or
Yes, 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 yes. So there are two, I think, so I have to explain a basic concept of a meditation so that you understand where we are at. So there are two types of a meditation, right? So one is called the concentration meditation, and the second one is called the insight meditation. Now, in insight meditation, we are having a one object to work with all the time. Okay, so our mind is not distracted. Our mind is not going to anywhere. Mind is simply with that object all the time. And then when we are working with that, there are different levels of the meditation attained. From momentary concentration, it comes up to the absorbed state, the completely secluded and completely absorbed, just the one mind. And that actually brings the blissfulness and peace and the happiness. And that is one kind of a meditation. And on that practice, normally we stuck with that object. Without that object, we cannot meditate now. And then when we meditate and our mind is not with that object, we feel like, what am I doing here? I'm not going anywhere. My meditation is not developing at all. And then like that, there's possibility of that one. Whereas the insight meditation, we work with the object for a certain period of a time, just to create the platform or just create the home. We have a home, but we will not stay in the home all the time. If you have to stay in the home all the time, you feel bored. You feel like something not right here. So you have to go out and come back again. When you go out and when you come back home, you feel like, what a nice time. What a wonderful, right? So that's an insight in meditation. We are having the object as just the home base or the platform that we are creating. But the rest of the other things in our daily life that we come across, we are using our awareness to recognize them, but not influenced by them. That changing our emotions and feelings into a liking, disliking, bored, unbored, and like that. So these are all based on what we feel. What we feel. And our feeling is impermanent. It doesn't last long. It just remains for a certain period of a time. But when this feeling transforms it into further, into other creations, then that moment, that causes a trouble. So feeling, in order to arise one feeling, you have to remember there needs three things. One, the suppose I, okay, or a body, or the ears. So it's called a six senses, and these six senses is one. And then the second, things to come to contact with it. So I needs to see something. So the object, seen object, and then seen object, in order to be seen as that object, so we need awareness, so-called a consciousness. So we are consciously aware of that object, which is come to our eyes, then that one feeling comes. Okay? And actually that feeling is very neutral, that ends there. I sees an object and I know that object, so completes there, but it doesn't complete there because our preconcepts, our experiences. So we put the labels on it, we put the colors on it, we put the shapes on it, and then based on the shape and color and concepts, we again develop this desire to want it. Okay, desire to have it, or desire to neglect it, and desire to push it away. And that's called a formation. When there is a formation, then that causes different emotions, feelings. So that's why one emotion, in order to have one emotion, there are so many things pass through. So like emotion is like the fourth or fifth action in a bold aspects. Okay? And when it happens, then we feel unhappy or sadness and things. So that's why practice of a meditation, particularly in insight practice of a meditation, what we are doing is we are trying to recognize these formations, this process of how it is coming to be. And recognizing that process, what happens that, oh, I know the process. Oh, I don't need to worry anymore now. So we simply recognize it, know it, and then it just drops it away. Okay. So as a result of that, the practice that we are doing, so we are focusing on the breath in our nose or in our belly as a practice that we are doing. And that is simply to develop as a platform only. We are not attached to it. Whereas in the practice, what we are doing is after we have developed understanding, we can use it in our daily life. So whenever things come to contact with us through the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and thinking, at that time, we're able to recognize straight away that, okay, this is happening now. Okay, this is happening now. And then how to deal with that. Okay, so to dealing with that is the practice that we are doing. So that's why it's called like upskilling for ourselves to live a happy life. Okay? And here, when we are upskilling ourselves, after we have recognized that state, now if that's a negative one, if that's a thing that always causes a trouble, such as like desire, and that's more of a like in a negative way, desire to want to have kind of, or ill will, or resentments, restlessness, or some doubts. When these things come, what we are doing, because we become aware of that, what we are doing is, oh, these are not profitable, not beneficial. So I recognize that these are harmful, danger. Now I do not want to spend time on it. So changing towards the another object, right? Changing. So thinking of, let's say, a beautiful mountain, or let's say thinking of beautiful moments, and then put ourselves into the right position, and thinking of a good actions that we have done, and then relaxing and peaceful. When I am not indulged or not engaged with these thoughts or these emotions and these feelings, I can feel so ease and calm and happy, relaxed. So thinking in that way. So with that's again, we are intentionally moving away from the negative mental state that arose through the experience that we come across today or on the spot, and changing into the positive way. So changing mindset into positive sense, okay, positive way. And with that, what happens? With that, we feel ease. But however, oftentimes people do mistakes in it. Whenever these emotions come, these feelings comes, and they straight away make a decision. Oh, I don't like it. This is not good for me. I don't like to be here. I don't want to be here. I don't like that person. I don't like this situation. I want to push that away. So, and then we put hard on ourselves, and then we try to escape. And when that escape comes, then what happens? Oh, it's like, oh, I've been meditating. Why I can't deal with that one? Or sometimes I am a meditator. How come I become annoyed and angry? Put hard on ourselves like that. So that's not the right way of doing. In that case, what we are doing is, okay, these are harmful and the consequences are not good. So because of that, consequences are not good. It's a destructive, and these are the harmful effects will come. Now, not only harmful effects, it can damage to my physical well-being, my mental well-being, and that also affects to my whole living standard. So change, understanding of that evolved thoughts. And the understanding of that, what we are doing is, once we have fully understood, we will be able to come out from that. Okay, so that's why what I'm saying here is that just understand that there are ways to have objects to practice and be with that all the time as a refuge, but I'm not trying to give certain things as like an object that you are stick with it. Although I did practice in the past having an object working on like that. So my starting point was breath. And then when I was in Thailand, I practiced so-called Samma Arahang. Okay. So every time, whatever you're doing, just thinking of a Samma Arahang, Samma Arahang. And whenever some resentment arises at that time, again, also I recite this word, Samma Arahang, simply to divert my negative thoughts to on that. And that's the platform that I was creating. And then with that having a platform, what happened that mind settles there. It's like having what's called the virtual object that I can feel that I know this one. And that's normally happens because the breath is something that not tangible. You can't relate to it. And psychologically, we feel that we are not developing, we are not practicing. Whereas when there is a tangible object or tangible names or things, then we feel like, okay, there is these things there to help us. So in that case, again, if you need it, okay, you can use like the Samma Arahang. You can recite in your mind again and again, or Buddho, also another word that normally used, particularly in Thailand, in Thai forest monasteries, they use the word Buddho as a refuge, as the platform. So you can use that one as well. But do not take it as absolute, but that's just a platform that you can come and feel the comfort and work on with that. But the ultimate, our objective of the practice that I've been trying to convey, the message is that we develop the platform and we learn to recognize our feelings and how these feelings are affecting to our mindset and that mindset affecting to our lifestyles, and recognizing this process, then able to deal with these process and then converting these processes that is affecting our life in a negative to the positive one. That's my message throughout the time of the practice. So sometimes you may able to recognize in a certain degrees, but other times it may take a few practices or reflections and awareness in order to see the effect of this meditation. Okay, it's a bit a long answer.
No, thank you very much. I got a lot out of it. But what does those two, Samma Arahant, what do they mean, this and Buddha?
So, Sanya, do you want to say something?
I'm just saying chanting is like Samara, but there must be some meaning.
Yeah.
But I have some let's say reflection on what you explained, Pra Ajahn. I think the very important is to recognize this formation process, because I think the emotion doesn't even develop necessarily from the sense we have. Actually, what I'm just now recognize is that when I listen to this conversation, I looked outside, I see green. For some reason, there is no association between the possible emotion I'm developing, but because my mind is so busy thinking about many things. So basically, sometimes emotion has been developed from the thought itself. So we just sit here. I didn't even deal with anybody. It could be that I feel so depressed because the thought comes in sometimes unconsciously. We didn't even recognize it. And this formation process is actually silently developed. And I think recognizing that there are so many thoughts, some thoughts, there's some kind of incognitive association of developing of the emotion through this formation process. It will lead us to depressive mode for no reason, actually. And I think it's because I have been in home office. I did kind of almost isolation. I didn't see people just through online, but sometimes I would just sit looking at things outside. Sometimes I recognize as well that, you know, that there's some emotion because we keep thinking all the time. And I think very important is when we do meditation practice is that recognizing the process of formation and put the process to an end. This is a key thing. Just terminate it. That's it. Because if we are able to switch it off, there will be no more development of, you know, any emotion or anything. It will be so peaceful at the end of the day. So this is what I just recognize from what you explained, because, you know, I think we talk about, you know, kanha in Thai, right? It doesn't necessarily to be even start from, you know, seeing, listening, touching. Just sit here looking at tree. Suddenly you feel like, oh my God, this is so depressive, because the thing happening behind the scene all the time.
Yeah. That's
what I want to reflect. Yes.
Yes. So the practice that we have been practicing is basically to develop that awareness, recognizing that, and that recognition in its true nature, actually that terminates there. We are not furthering it. And that's how this we can get this calmness and happiness. So that's the practice that we've been doing. But coming back to the words, the question that Jonas asked on the Buddha or Samma Arahant, these are one of the meditation objects that used in Thailand. Okay, so the Samma Arahant is basically recollection of the noble beings, those who have freed themselves from all the kilesas. Okay. So that's a very good equivalent with the Buddha as well. Buddha basically means the recollecting the qualities of the Buddha who has freed himself. And here, rather so Buddha is just a one syllabus, so only one word. The Samma Arahant has got the two syllables, or two words, not two. Yeah, two words. So Samma Arahant. So that these are the another way of practicing meditation. One of the meditation objects that we can use it to calm the mind by reciting it. The beginning with recitation, reciting the word. You may do it verbally to start off with, and then mentally you're reciting all the time. Okay, and then not only mentally reciting it, you can relate it to the breath as well. So like the Buddha practice, so again, a Buddha, it divides into two. So Bud, so breathing in, and To, breathing out, like that. So the various ways developed along with the way of the practicing. And the same with the Arahant, Samma Arahant. So Samma Arahant, you can relate to the breath in your nose. And then meanwhile, you can, there is instruction is that you are mentally creating the mental object of the crystal, the light crystal in your nose, the tip of the nose. So in the practice of a Samma Arahant, you are having three objects to work at the same time. So it's not an easy one to practice. Three objects. So one is the verbalization of a Samma Arahant. The second one is the breath. And third one is the visualized mental object of the crystal. So and all three working at the same time. And that's how you're working, and that's how you gain the samadhi or the concentration. And with that, gaining the concentration, and gradually you develop further onto the practices. But both practices, if that doesn't come to relate with the breath, then that doesn't give higher understanding. That doesn't lead to the practice of insight meditation, or even like the absorption. Difficult to attain the absorption too. So that's why after you have worked reciting, verbalizing, and mentally verbalizing for some times, you have to relate with the breath. Okay? And then in particular part of the practice of the Buddha practice, after you have related to the breath, eventually you leave the breath and only the word Buddha and the mind exist. And when the mind and the Buddha is working together, become a become called ekagata. So mind and object becomes one. And then at that time, very easy to be diverted as well. Feel confused, not gone anywhere, just stuck there. And that stays also, we have to come back to the body now, body parts, reflecting your body as impermanence. Before you go into the reflection of the impermanence of the body, you have to go to the part by part. So there are 32 parts of the body contemplation. Kesa, loma, naka, tanta, tacho, like that go on. So it's like a hair of the hair, the hair of the body, nails, teeth, and the skin, like that. So you go part by part, working with that part by part until come to the stage that experience of a fullness. So this body is not attractive as we think it is. And so that's how then you will distract yourself or disconnect yourself from that attachment to this body. And that's how, again, you will be working with your mindset of how mind is going towards the liking and a disliking, pleasure and unpleasantness. And that's how then you will be able to withdraw yourself from this engagement of attractiveness to the dispassion. Okay, so this passion here means, okay, nothing I should be attached to it. These are here, and I should not be holding on to it, that like that. So, and then that's how you come to the stages of the practicing until the liberation. Whereas in the practice of this Samma Arahang, again, similar process. So you start off with reciting the Samma Arahang in your even a word verbally, and then also in a mentally. And as you develop that again, then after that, when you're practicing, you relate to the breath in your nose. And then when you relate to the breath in your nose, at that time again, in order to sharpen or strengthen your meditation practice, you visualize the crystal mental image. Visualize and make it so tiny but very shiny, like the moon in your tip of the nose. And then as you are able to visualize this crystal in your tip of the nose, then that time you are reciting the word Samma Arahang along with the breath, and you move different stages go on. And then you go on up to the seventh level, seventh stage, and then from that seventh stage, then again you will be learning of the very coarse body, coarse stays of our physical body, coarse stays of our mental body, and goes on layer by layer, up to the 18 stages. Okay, and after gone through the 18 stages, that comes to the stage that only focusing on 4 elements. Although there are the instruction is to concentrate on 5 elements, but just 4 elements is enough. The 5th one is the consciousness. So your consciousness, you're concentrating on a consciousness, and that's the place, the beginning and ending there, the starts. Okay? So that's why, and then, but having this Buddha or Samma Arahang is another way of like you have objectified the practice and you feel the connection with that object, so that you can, feel like whenever you are practicing it and you feel the connection and developing something from that. Okay? So you can choose either the Buddha or the Samma Arahant. And the same with the practice of a walking meditation. When we are doing the walking meditation, again, if we are doing walking meditation without having these objects, sometimes feel dry. They're just walking right and left and right and left and right and left, or slow movements. Sometimes feel very dry, and mind cannot feel concentrated, and mind feel like a mind hasn't developed yet into the stage of like a what's called developed stages. And in those cases, again, what happens that in those cases we can employ these words to feel connection with the practice, connection with the Buddha, or connection with the noble beings, connection with the teachers, like that. So in that case, that's why again you can use the Buddha as you walk, mentally thinking of a Buddha, 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 or Samma Arahang, like that. Okay, so you can use it again, break the word into two, like a boot toe, like a right and a left, a right boot, left toe, right left, like that, boot toe. You can do like that too, like the Samma Arahang. So Samma Arahang. So right and a left, Samma Arahang, like that. You can do it too. In my own understanding, when you're doing a Buddha, it's a bit faster. Okay, and then it's very easy to get into the samadhi, the concentration. But in the meantime, it's very easy that the mind slipped away into the thoughts without you recognizing it, because mind works so fast and a Buddha is so short. Whereas practicing of the Samma Arahant, when you're walking and practicing Samma, and so Samma is a long. So right, you put the right foot front, and Samma. So because of the long word and the sound, you are hearing the sound of this word Samma in your head. And as a result of that, mind is still with the movement of your right move. And then left move, Arahang. So still, Arahang is also very loud and long. So with that, Samma Arahang is, you can keep up practicing, but it also makes you tired quickly too. Because you have to work mentally, you are working, and then you are hearing the loud voice in your mind. And then physically, you are walking. So that makes you tired as well. So whether you're doing the Buddha or a Samma Arahant, it makes you tired quickly. And also, you can get a samadhi. Whereas the practice that I've been teaching here, mostly not related to the Buddha or a Samma Arahant. I've been teaching only the third level. So it's like a right goes thus, left goes thus, and a lifting, placing, lifting, moving, placing, like that. Although there are 6 levels, so lifting, moving, placing, that's the third. So heels up, lifting, moving, placing. The fourth one, heels up, lifting, moving, lowering, and touching. The fifth. So heels up, lifting, moving, lowering, touching, and pressing. So that's the 6 stages. So the 6th stage, when you practice the 6th stage, it's a very slow moment, but your mind is always connected to it. And it requires a lot of what's called a dedication and faith in it. Otherwise, it feels dry. And it feels like you haven't attained anything after the practice. And it's very slow. So it's easy to be diverted. So that's why on the retreats, I haven't taught up to the 6th level. Very rare. Only 3rd level is enough for many people. And in the meantime, in a walking practice, again, very rarely I introduce the Buddha or a Samma Arahant. But for me, myself, when I'm practicing, I use all these tactics based on my feelings, based on my by experience at that time. Okay, so and then I like to investigate the in the practice as well. There is a practice called 26 steps. There's Lumpu Man, one of the very famous meditation masters of Thailand. And his disciples are still very well revered in Thailand. All the meditation forest monasteries, mostly based on his lineage. So Lumpu Man, he practiced the walking meditation 26 steps. So he walked 26 steps and then returned. So walk back and forth like that. And I wanted to investigate on that. So I spent a lot of time investigating on few months. And I checked it. Why that 26? So I checked it and checked it and checked it. And eventually I found that, so Lumpu Man's mind, the one mindset changes at the 26th level. So step 26. So then after that, you will be, it's very difficult to explain, but that's the moment that his mindset changes. And for me, after I have been experimenting and checking, I found that in myself, because I am not that developed in samadhi or meditation yet. So my experiment, I found that from 22nd to 28, in between, my mind changes. Sometimes 22nd, the longest one is 28. Whereas Lumpu Man, I'm pretty sure from my own experiment and checking that his mind changes at the 26th step, and I think that after he had been practicing, and always he found at the 26th, so he introduced 26 steps in the walking meditation. So that's my conclusion. Okay. So like that. So I like to experiment in that way. And sometimes, I run up and down, just to check, to see the arising of the mind, the changing process of the mind, and how this changes, and then how that changing process affects to my understanding, my feelings, my knowledge, like that. After changing, then, so after experimenting in these ways, then I can make sure that, okay, now whoever says something in different ways, I know, okay, where they are coming from. Like that. So that's why the practice of Buddhist meditation is basically, it's about experimenting yourself on the theories that you have been learning, and then see that how much that is affecting to you and how much you are benefiting. But the most important is ability to recognize and relinquishing yourself. So that's the liberation. And in a way, we are attaining a nibbana bit by bit, little by little. In the meantime, we are approaching closer to it, being freed from it, and then having great happiness for ourselves. Right? So like that. It seems like I thought that I will go very easy today, but yet we have gone through a little bit more. Okay. Any other things? Anyone? So that's the two ways of, two that Jonathan asked, the Buddha and Samma Arahant practices. Okay. So these two practices are very famous in Thailand. And those two practices introduced similar time, both similar times. Now you may see the picture of one of the monks behind my screen. So behind my, so that's the picture. He's the one who taught the Samma Arahant meditation. Yeah, Samma Arahant meditation. And on another side, you can't see the picture here. On another side, there is a Lumpo Man's picture, who is doing a walking meditation. So that's a Buddha, and looking at his standing in this position, I walked meditation, looking at him, going backward and forward, and looking at him like that. So these are the two famous meditation teachers in Thailand. And this Samma Arhang teacher, his name is Lumpo Sot, or Mongkon Lumpa Mongkon Thep Muni. His body is still there to venerate. He died about 64 years ago. But his body is still there for veneration, and I kept it for all the disciples to go and venerate him. And that's the temple that I stayed 8 years in Thailand. Okay. So today we are on everywhere. Kyla, you look like stay still, quiet.
I'm still waking up, but I did have a question actually. Just thinking about Sanya's point on the subconscious and the thoughts that come up, and I think there are things in our subconscious that will always trigger an emotion, and I understand the point of meditation is to release some of the emotion. But then my question is, at what point, so where is the border between having clarity on these things that are in our subconscious and avoiding emotion point blank?
Right. So obviously, okay, there are, so I will introduce three things, okay? And that's called the formation, okay? So the formation we normally do in three ways, okay? So called bodily formation, a verbal formation, and a mental formation. Now, bodily formation, it's easy to understand. A verbal formation also easy to understand, but the mental formation, which is difficult. Okay? And now this mental formation, the thinking process, our mind is never freed of thinking. This is always thinking. Something is going in our background, thinking all the time. And a way of looking at that thinking process or some subconsciously working mind, so there's a practice called the watching the undercurrent. Okay, watching that undercurrent, and that watching of an undercurrent, when we able to recognize that, in that moment, this mind, we will be able to recognize the emotions, how this is coming to be the emotion, and how it is making us to be bored, how it is making us to be feel unhappy. Okay? And that stays what is happening, that meditation helps us to recognize this undercurrent sleeping in. When this sleeping in, and that stays of a sleeping in, straight away, we put our perception to it. Okay? That's called a sanya. So that's the name of the sanya. So the sanya perception, we put that perception in. And that perception is saved in our subconsciousness. And in psychology, it's called long-term memory. Okay, and this long-term memory clicks in and work with the current experience of the thinking in our mind. And that thinking, again, is only possible when something triggers it. Okay? Without a triggering object, this thinking doesn't happen. And this perception doesn't involve. When this when this is not triggered by it, not employs the perceptions, then there will be no emotions. There will be no emotion at all. Okay, so that's why the practice of a meditation is to, first of all, we are quietening the feeling, the triggering point. When we are working with that triggering point, then the perceptions or our experiences will not be able to come to the effect. when it doesn't come to the effect, our mind will be able to recognize the one mindset, how it is arising. Okay? And when we understand this arising of the mind, then we recognize that this is just an object. So there is no, we don't have to classify it as a right or a wrong. At this time, this is another the further than what I was explaining. Early on, I was explaining to recognize a negative and a positive mindset, okay? But here now there isn't any positive or a negative, just a state. Okay? Just a state. And when we recognize that a state, then what happens that we will not be engaged with it. And that's how that drops. So this recognition, or this is called realization, and that realization ends the entire process. So in a short term, normally you may have heard saying, when you know, the finish is there. So like that. So that's why here the practice is basically to recognize these triggering points and then recognizing it. Whereas before that, what we are doing is when this trigger happens, so without we are investigating or without we understanding it, we're recognizing as a bold, this is a negative feeling, this is a negative emotion, and this is a positive emotion. If that's a negative emotion, that is affecting to my well-being. It is affecting to my feelings, my physical body, and also it's affecting to my speech, and also affecting to the family members and the friends. So recognizing that, and then after we have recognized it, the first practice is to replacing the positive thoughts. And how do we know that that is a negative? The moment when it is affecting into us in a negative way, feeling negatively, then that is a negative emotion. And then in that case, we are replacing the positive one. So kindness, compassion, goodwill, like that. But in the meantime, we are not forcing ourselves into like, you must. No. Okay, we are not doing it like you must. No. We're just simply thinking that, oh, these are the negative, danger, destructive, harmful. It can damage, and this should not be desirable. So replace it with the good one, the wholesome one, comforting one, relaxing one, peaceful one. In that case, sometimes you just maybe go for a walk, or maybe, okay, I need a fresh air, or just drink a cup of tea, or just say, it's okay, we will deal with it later, like that. So that's in a Lao Tzu say that when you are going to say something, think twice, right? So thinking twice is basically, that's a replacing to the negative to the positive. That's okay. And then further on, what we are doing is after understanding in these cases and still persist, then try to let go of it. And that letting go, again, we are not putting a pressure on us. So letting go is basically realizing that this is a damaging, the harmful, destructive, and then relax. Okay, relax yourself. So when we relax, what we are doing, we relax our body, we relax our mind. When we relax our body and our mind, in a neuroplasticity, they say there's another hormone generates in our brain, and that really influences the relaxing the body and the mind. So when we relax in that case, and what happened? What we will do? We release. So we release all those thoughts, and then return to the present moment. Long breath, like that. Okay? And then that's how we will be taking all the tensions away. And then in those cases, sometimes you may have to do other practices, and which normally you may have recognized. Sometimes people, when they feel anxious, emotional, and then scratching here or touching or scratching this or that, or, playing with the paper, playing with the paints, scratching here and there like that. These are actually the what's called escaping mechanism from what they are going through in their minds and feelings. Okay? And in the practice of a meditation, what we are doing is we are doing those activities rather than automatically letting it to do. We are doing it mindfully. So we do ourselves. So pressing this and like that. Okay? Or just mindfully rubbing like this. Okay? And that's how we can come out from those emotions and then coming back to ourselves. The one last thing before Sanya, I want to say, emotion itself is actually expressing the nature of our feeling, and that is emotion. What does it, motion means? Motion means change, moving. Our feelings also always motion, changing, emotion. Now, this emotion, the changing in nature, we cannot define it as a permanent. We cannot take it as this is me, this is mine, and that's how I am. We cannot hold on that concept. The moment when we understand that this feeling, this emotion actually doesn't last long, it is also changing. Okay, so the practice is basically understanding that. Okay, Sanya.
So I think I captured what you said about this formation and also meditation. To me, my understanding is that I think when, for example, if the formation starts, there is emotion developed already. You have a feeling of sad, depressed, and thing. And actually, when we go for a walk, for example, I think we should put ourselves into a different environment. And I think the best thing is to use the meditation technique to calm down the thoughts. Because what mostly often to me sometimes when I experience it is that when I started to have emotion and I don't stop thinking, the thought triggers another formation process. So basically, by doing the meditation, we recognize the arising of thoughts. And if we are able to, not try, if we are able to recognize that, okay, thought arise, and then let it there, and put the let go mode, it's already stopped a lot of other formation. So basically, we have less thing to deal with, and thing will calm down slowly. Because I think it's not avoiding or anything, but recognize that, okay, it's there, but then what can we do with it? we have two hands, we have this one body. We cannot do all that. We cannot deal with all that thought in one go. So let go and then calm down. And I think it's by putting the meditation techniques, it's really helped to just let the thought goes. And I think this is what I started to realize as well, that I think trying to stop the process of formation, it will be very difficult. Probably recognize that, okay, it's already there, but then stop thinking further. It's even better. So that's what I captured. Yeah.
So there are three things to remember. One, to know, to understand, and to reflect. Okay? To know, but you haven't understood, then you cannot let go. And if you try to let go, what happens that you are pushing yourself hard on yourself. And you will be able to let go for some times, but will not be able to do it for a long. Okay? And then whenever that situation comes, then that will affect you again. Okay? Because you haven't understood and you haven't managed to reflect. Now, the second, you know it and you understand it. You know it, you understand it, you're able to drop it, but you haven't completely dropped that thinking away yet because you haven't reflected properly. You understand that, okay, I know this is there, and I understand that this is affecting me, and this is staying in my thinking, okay? But now I will do something else first. So you haven't fully understood that situation yet. As a result of that, it will come back again. And when it comes back, and again, you will be pulling your hair. So why it's again? Yeah. But the third, now you know it, you understand it, and you have fully reflected on it. And this reflection is basically the whole process, how it is coming to be and how it is going to be, and how I can end it. And that reflection, once you have reflected, you will never think of that one because you have fully understood. Even next time when it comes, you will simply use the technique and then finish it. And you will just after finish that, you feel happy. It's like going to the toilet. After you have finished your job in a toilet, will you go back and think about it? Oh, I shouldn't have done that one. I should have kept it. No, you have fully reflected that this is harmful, this is not good, and it needs to be let go of, right? And next time when you need it to toilet, what you do? Oh, I know how to let it go. So I just go to the toilet and finished. That's all. So in the future, what happens is that whenever things happen, I know that I need it. Now I understand that this is causing me trouble and I know how to let it go. And so you just go to the toilet and finished it. So that's why, you may remember in our early days, I was telling meditation is the toilet for the mind. So we have fully reflected and let go. So with that, whatever remains will not be remained in our mind anymore. And then whenever the situation comes, we know that, we understand it, we have fully reflected on that, and just let it go. And so that this letting go again is not because I want to let go. It just happens that naturally that this is not good and this is not helpful. Now I have fully understand that. I have fully reflected on it. So just let it go. And that's how we become our own freedom and happy. Okay, so remember 3 things. Know, so to know, to understand, and to reflect. Okay, and Varapunya, you want to say something?
I have a question. Thanks for the flow that you explained about the process when you receive something and then you create the feelings and so on until the end of the process. So you said about the realizing that is the end of the process or the recognizing. So where is the panya creating? So I'm not sure that I can follow you 100%. So because we're going through the let go that we're realizing and we have to recognizing first and then we're realizing where the problem comes from and then you create by automatically. Then, and you also explain about the positive action of replacement and realize that if you have to do this. I would like to know just where is the wisdom or the panya? Why I said I like to know that.
So the realization here is basically understanding that things that we are observing is impermanent. So that realization is the key, and that's the panya, the wisdom.
So that is the realization, that is the end of the process that you mentioned about. So the panya created, so they know exactly where it is, and that is to solve the problem, right?
Yeah. So after we understood that things is impermanent, and that is a wisdom, okay? And then when you have that wisdom, you don't need to worry at all. It's just there, but that is not affecting you. You have no power over things to change that, but our perception can change. Our relationship with that can change. And that change, our relation to that, our relationship with that changes, and not because we dislike or we don't, we want, but it's because we have fully understood the reality of that entity, that object. And as a result of that, then we simply become freed ourselves. Right? So that anicca, or the impermanence, arises without we pushing to know it, but we simply understood it. Right? Sanya?
So when we realize it's impermanent, just to understand, when we realize that it's impermanent, so that is, you will free yourself by itself.
Yeah, itself, yes.
Okay, that is fun.
And I think this also gives me another connection to the Buddhism. Actually, it is really Buddhism, anicca, dukkha, anatta. That's the Trailak, right? And I think if we truly understand what these three things means, you will have wisdom, because that is the truth that help you to really let things go completely. Because of this, if you know it, then you know it.
Yeah, agree.
Right? So that's why I think I gave you the definition of emotion. So that's the same. Emotion, always
Exactly.
moving, always moving. And now so here I will put it a little bit more into it. When we recognize that emotion, everything is moving, that moving actually reflects our mind also moving too. Our mind also changing too. Because mind observes that emotion, right? Suppose in that emotion, so EM, right? 11111. When we recognize E, we do not know rest of the motion. Now, when we recognize M, we do not know E, and we do not know the rest, because our mind observes only one object at a time, right? So that's why our feeling is in motion, changing. And whatever changed, mind observes that change. So that means our mind also in motion. Yeah? Our mind also in motion. And mind also observes only one at the time when new things arises. When new things arises, old is gone. Observe the new one, observe the new one, observe the new one, right? Leaving the leaving the previous one, take the another one. Leaving the previous one, take the another one. So mind also like that. So mind also in motion. And this concept of in motion, actually the impermanence, the anicca, the changing, right? So changing in nature of our mind. When we recognize that this changing mind also, what happens then? Do you recognize yourself as mind, or this mind is me, or this mind is I am? Right? So that's how Buddha's teaching is basically not grasping or attachment to any feeling, any emotions, and even the concept of this mind, that this is me and a mind. And so that is the wisdom. And the moment when you understand this moment, this mind, and this feelings, you are enlightened. Okay. So I think with this, let's practice a little bit before we end, okay? Unless you have any other things to share or ask. Anyone? No? Okay. Let's, sorry, yeah, Jonas.
Maybe I can ask next time. Because no, because it might also be it's about, how you supposed to, I mean, you if when you, for example, you have to deal with insects in your home. You're not supposed to kill insects. You're not supposed to kill anything. And you have ants in your home, in your bathroom. They eating termites. They're starting to eat your house. How do you not kill them? And I had to pull pesticides because I don't want my bathroom full of ants. Just, why do they have to come in the bathroom? Why do they have to come? There's not even food. Like, and what are they trying to tell me? And how do I deal with having to kill them, basically?
Okay. Actually, I have written one article on that too. So when you are doing it, do not think of ants, do not think of termites to kill them. Right? So you think of saving your food, saving your house.
Okay.
So do not do it with a negative thought. And then you are not intentionally spraying it to kill them.
Exactly.
You are simply deterring them by using those. And if having done that, they come and died, then you are not responsible for it. But if you are doing with the intention to kill ants, termites, so that's why I am spraying it, then your intention is wrong from the beginning.
Yeah.
And your intention is to kill them from the beginning. It's not for the prevention, or it's not for the safety, but your intention is to kill. And doesn't matter in which way you started to do those actions with the intention to kill. Maybe 1 or 2 days later, some ants or a termite died, then you will be the responsible one because you have that intention. Whereas if you are preventing mind, not thinking of termite, not thinking of ants, but to prevent my house, my food, my place, then it's okay. It's called prevention. So it's based on the intention.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. Let's practice meditation for a little bit before we end the session. Right. So settle yourself down. Spend some time reflecting yourself, sitting comfortably, relax, bring your mind back to the moment here and now. And you may spend some time on the breath. And you may spend some time try to recollect basic concept of the practices to deal with the things, the distraction, mental processes, and so on. And make sure you're relaxed, body and mind, no tensions. And able to refocus on the primary object, the breath, doesn't matter where. And any thoughts distracts you away, and then again realizing, recognizing, releasing, and come back. Anything that is a negative, harmful, danger, just let it go. And this letting go, again, not we want to let it go, but fully investigating. So knowing, understanding, and reflecting and letting go happens on its own way. And now we will practice the loving kindness meditation. So bring your attention to observe the sensations in your body. Whatever sensations are there in your body, observing objectively. Like when you breathe in, experiencing any sensations in your body, and breathe out, also experiencing any feelings around in your body. So spend some time reflecting on that, observing the sensations as you breathe in and breathe out. And shift your attention from that to your hands only. Just feel the sensations in your hands. Whatever sensations are there. The softness, hardness, light. And shift that attention to your heart. Try to feel the beating heart, or physically smiling to feel the connection with your heart. Or you may put your right hand on the chest, the heart area, and feel the connection with your heart. If you are putting your hand, feel the warmness, and also beating the heart. Feel the beating of your heart. Feeling the settling and calming the heart. And with that connection, generating loving kindness and compassion to yourself. Allowing yourself to be happy, at peace, free from suffering. And mentally, you may recite these good thoughts, good wills for yourself. I am well. I am happy. I am at peace. And you may put your hand down, recollecting all of the sentient beings far and wide, starting from the idea one, people around you, in the house, in the community, in the city, in the country, in the universe, not only just the human beings, but all the sentient beings. Or any particular person, if you wish to develop this loving thoughts to them, and you think that they need at this moment, to bring into your mind, and dedicating, spreading these loving thoughts for their goodwill, happiness, and peace, and well-being. And spreading it to the entire universe, whatever beings there are. May they be well. May they be happy. May they be at peace. May they be free from suffering. May they be liberated. May they be able to maintain their happiness. May their happiness increase. May all beings be happy. Spend some time reflecting on that and spreading this loving thoughts. loving kindness and compassion to all of the sentient beings. Now bring your attention back to your body. Feel the sensations in your body. And to your eyes. Feel the sensations in your eyes. And creating condition or creating intention to open your eyes and come out from the practice. And slowly open your eyes and come out from the practice. Okay, so thank you very much for this session. Okay, and I think we will end here, unless you have anything to share before we end. Looks everybody is happy. Right, okay, so in this case, I think we will stop here, and may you all have a good health and a happy life and enlightened in a near future. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
We'll see you
Thank
next time.
you.
See you.
See you next
Bye-bye.
time. Bye bye.